we get older, we often look back and think about do-overs, regrets, and wondering about the should-haves and the could-haves. But what if we changed the narrative? In her first book, Lesson Learned, local author Monica Pham decides to celebrate the incredible adventures, embarrassing moments, and even the tough trials that define our youth. And she joins me now. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Kelly. It's good to see you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk about my book.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. First one, so tell me about it for someone that hasn't had the chance to read it.
Yeah, so it's called Lesson Learned, obviously. It's a compilation of short stories, just experiences that I went through in my life from ages, 19 into my 20s all the way to 30, and just kind of thinking of the idea of, those embarrassing moments in life, the hard times, mistakes you think you're making that make you feel like you're failing, but looking at it more of just like these very invaluable lessons that make you, who you are. And for me, I definitely kept it in a more like comical, kind of self-deprecating tone.
Yes, I liked the tone of the book. I finished it. I loved it.
Yeah, I think for me, one, it made it more relatable. And then in general, I think, I'm not here preaching that I've made all the right choices. That's kind of the point. You make mistakes and you say, hey, what did I learn from it? How do I extract the good stuff and take that into the future? And so, yeah, that's kind of what it's about. And
when did you start writing this book? I mean, how long has it taken you to write this? Was this always a dream?
So long, actually. Yeah, so I started writing at I want to say 18, 19, I think.
Okay.
I had a friend who would always be like, you need to write a book or have a TV show, because I kept finding myself in these zany misadventures, being like, how is this happening again? But yeah, so I kind of wrote it on and off in the last decade, and it felt really right to finally, publish it at 30, because I actually felt like I learned the lessons. I wasn't just talking about them.
Absolutely. And what are some of your favorite lessons in the book, or funny stories that you want to share, that you were talking about some, missed opportunities, maybe, or dating?
Yeah, the dating ones are funny. Yeah, I think one of the funnier chapters for me is called An Ode to My Expiration Boyfriends. You'll have to.
Yep, I remember that one.
You'll have to read it to get a little more of the details, but it's kind of saying, in dating, especially modern dating, I feel like we get in these situationships or people that we think it's really going to work out with, and it ends for a number of reasons, right? You're not a good fit, just didn't turn out the way you thought, and then ultimately it feels like you're failing, right? You're like, I was so close to this relationship I thought I was going to be in, and I have to start over. And I think that we hate starting over, right? But you're always going to learn something from those situations, whether it be, this is what I liked about this person, this is what I didn't like, here are the boundaries I need to set better for myself going forward. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it makes dating, there's the ups and downs, but it makes it easier going forward, saying, this didn't work, but I can take that into the future.
Absolutely. Lesson learned.
Yeah.
And you lay out a lot of life lessons like we're talking about. One I loved is that you don't let your failures define you or defeat you. Can you speak on that for, I guess people in general?
Yeah, I think, it's that age-old, get knocked down, get back up. But I think, kind of in that same vein, it's so easy to feel like you're failing and go, I got myself off the wrong path. So an example in the book was, in college, I didn't get into the business school I thought I was going to get in. I had my whole, career planned out. I didn't get in. So I'm sitting there going, what am I going to do? And, I kind of changed the narrative in my head. Can I get to the same, goal and achieve the same things going down a different path? And I ended up being in a career I loved for the last 8 years. And so I wouldn't change a thing. So I just think remembering, looking at it from a different perspective and not thinking of it as a failure.
I love that. Just changing that perspective slightly is so important. And I also loved you had a chapter in there where you're talking about hugging your real life heroes. Obviously, we have, big heroes, Michelle Obama, Oprah, whatever you want to say with that. Beyonce. Okay, make sure Beyonce's in there. But, your real life heroes, which I thought was really special. It's like, you want to tell those people that maybe you don't tell all the time that you appreciate them. Can you speak on that in that chapter?
Yeah, and exactly. It's like, there's that definition of hero that we all kind of think it is, but I think for me, again, going in the lessons learned, I feel like the people that impacted me the most were those closest to me. So a couple people in the book that were my heroes were my family members, and one being my sister. And she was just a role model. A hero to me is someone who kind of trailblazes, makes their own path, gets hit with adversity and powers through. And they don't always do it for any version of glory. They're just like, this is who I am. And I think that was the biggest inspiration. And yeah, and reminding them, like, you are a hero to me, and you shaped who I am, and you helped me learn all these lessons as I went. Like, my sister's definitely someone I ask all of my, opinions to,
Yes.
and bounce ideas off, and I always need her, in my ear, so.
I love that so much. And no matter your age, I feel like this book can, speak to you. So what do you want the key takeaways to be?
Yeah, I think, for me, this was kind of my tumultuous 20s, right? I think that's a really big growing decade, and we change so much. But I think at every age, you're going to be failing or feeling like you're failing at something, or, I think there's those self-imposed timelines that we give ourselves, especially as women, right?
Definitely. I know, got to be married by here, got to have kids by here.
Right.
Yes.
Or you're like, am I my dream job, or whatever it may be, and just always reminding yourself that, life is not just one big book, and if you veer off path, you're done. It's over. It's going to be a series of a lot of different chapters, beginnings, ends, and that's kind of a success story in and of itself. So I think that's kind of something you could say to all ages.
I absolutely love it. I love that this is your first book. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I read it. It was a very quick read and really spoke to me. So thank you so much for being here.